Hello boys and girls, welcome to my channel. I'm For Classic and welcome to BenchART. So for today what I do have in here is NBA 2K21, a game developed by Visual Concepts, the same developers behind pretty much all the NBA games, and they are using their in-house technology. So I will be testing my Nvidia MX130 with GDDR5, which is the same thing as the GT940 MX with GDDR5. So looking at the settings, I decided that the best settings to play this game it is to play with 720p using median settings, and actually the median settings offers a very good balance between graphics fidelity and performance, while unfortunately the low settings it looks not that bad, alright, but removes essential stuff like for example reflections on the floor, which makes it look so much old gen game. So looking to the requirements, this game it isn't really that demanding, so it asks for the first gen Core i3 or i5 CPU from Intel, 4 gigs of RAM it is enough for this game, and also they also ask for a GTS 450 or an AMD HD 7770. So at 720p with the low settings, the one that I think that it is a little bit potato, my average was 67, but the 1% low it was 44. Using median settings, the settings that I decided to go with, the average was 58 with the 1% low 42, and at the high settings the average was 48, but there was some drops there below 30 frames per second. Those drops does happen when you are on a cutscenes or replay. So at 900p the median settings provided an average of 47 with the 1% low that does drop below 30 frames per second, and the high settings had more or less the same behavior, except that the average and the 1% low it is actually lower. So at 1080p with median settings the average was 41 and the 1% low it was 26. So let's wrap all the results together and get to a conclusion about its performance. So as you can see, both 720p low and median have a great boost in performance in the 1% low. That's why I decided to go with 720p median, because it offers good graphics fidelity and the performance it is great, although not perfect. With these settings you can expect to play the game mostly between 50 to 70 frames per second during regular gameplay, and the cutscenes or the replays, this is where you are going to get the worst performance. But since you are not playing cutscenes, alright, you see the cutscenes but you are not actually playing during the cutscenes, of course, I don't think it is a huge deal, and the performance it is still very acceptable. I'm just a little bit disappointed that we couldn't got to 60 frames per second locked at least during gameplay. But still, the performance it was pretty good, because the drops below 60 were quite small. Like I told you, it averages around 50 to 70 frames per second. So I think the results are more than acceptable. Also, like I did tell you like 3 times, the graphics fidelity on median settings are actually pretty good. You can actually see the reflections in here from people, from the crowds. So yeah, I think it runs pretty great in my opinion. The graphics are fine and performance it is there. So my recommendation stays the same. 720p median settings it is the way to go. The worst case scenario possibly my recommendation could go to 900p median settings or 1080p median settings. The high settings, all the time that I did try the high settings, it offers a respectable performance, but cutscenes really suffer a lot because possibly depth of field and a lot of post-processing that gets revamped on those settings. So now that I talked a little bit about the performance, let's talk a little bit about the game. And looking to the to the user score of all people around the globe about this game, well, it won't be a good talk at all. So what does NBA 2K21 has to offer comparing to the last year? Absolutely nothing. Alright, so they just updated what they needed to update, but overall there is no significant difference from this game to last year's game. And actually, the bad practices continue. So if you go to Metacritic and you search for the Metascore of the game, the Metascore it is around 68, so it's a reasonable score. But if you go to the user score, and this is a score between 0 to 10, I mean, users only gave 0.9. The average of the user score it is 0.9 from 0 to 10. So this clearly shows how pissed, I mean, it is not even satisfactory or not. Community, it is pissed at 2K because of NBA. And if you go to Steam, you can see that most of the users share the same thing, with the game having a score of 24%. This is mostly negative. Nobody is really happy about this. And this is only because one simple reason. Every year it is the same thing. This game, despite the gameplay it is good, despite the graphics are good, this game tries to push so hard into microtransaction territory that you can't play the game and having a fun with it without paying even more than the $60. So this game looks like those free-to-play games, those mobile free-to-play games that actually tries to force you all the time to buy microtransactions, and it clearly makes your life very difficult in-game until you pay. So unfortunately, NBA continues this because this has been one of the complaints of all users that plays this game. These have been majorly the only complaint that users have been having with this game. Well, aside from they don't really change anything year after year, but this one it is completely the worst. All right, year after year it is the same thing. You start to play and you start to slowly notice that the game it is incredibly hard and it's trying to make everything for you to pay the damn money for them in microtransactions for you to benefit from the game. And this is honestly really bad, and community already gave this type of scores in the last year NBA and in the other year of NBA, and still these bad practices continue. And if I had to guess why, it is probably because all the people continues to buy the damn game, and so 2K doesn't really care about it because people still buy it, so they can still do these practices. And it doesn't really matter what score the game have because people will still buy anyway. So guys, I think that's all that I want to talk about NBA 2K21. Hope you keep enjoying the rest of the video, and I do hope to see you soon. Goodbye.
And Eric Bledsoe drops them both.
An underrated two-way player. Bledsoe wows you with his offense, but he's also made the all-defensive first team.
Now here is McGee, and that one drops.
And he's got such a great touch and feel around the basket. He made that reverse look easy.
Passes it to Lopez. And just under 2.5 minutes elapsed here in the first. And Bledsoe, here we go. The shot, no good. Great tee that time from Davis. LeBron James on the wing. Looking for McGee, he gets it there. An emphatic alley-oop jam.
Chemistry at its best. An unreal alley-oop.
Yeah, you're right. The pass, the catch, the dunk, all of it perfect. Now here's Bledsoe. Pass to Matthews from past the arc. And James pulls it down. And so James will bring it up for the Lakers. Down low. And it's McGee with the jam.
Good open look. Avery looking poised with the ball in his hands, making decisions.
Bledsoe passes to Middleton. He dishes it to Giannis. The Bucks working the ball around. Offensive rebound. Great tee that time from Davis.
Even though he missed it, this is the exact play your offense is designed to produce.
And it's McGee with the jam.
That's next level stuff from AD. One of the great scorers in the game. He draws the eyes of the defense and locates the open man.
And Milwaukee calls their first time out of the game.
And for everything that Anthony Davis does on the floor, you can't forget about his defense. Still an elite level defender, guards multiple positions and turns away a number of shots.
A platoon swap here for the Lakers. First quarter of play and just over 3.5 minutes in. Here's Hill. Off to a good start as he hits his first shot attempt. And Davis gets a lot of blocks without getting in foul trouble. About a 1-to-1 ratio for him in his career.
Incredible. And he's done a great job of learning how to go straight up, playing vertical. Gets blocks but doesn't get pulled out of position. Does everything you want from a defensive anchor.
And for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, he's best when he lets the game come to him, when he's not forcing shots, not making things tough on himself, not making tough passes. You know, Smitty, a simple approach does wonders for him.
Kevin, you applaud the maturity of KCP to realize that he knew he needed to change his game to improve. Focusing on making the easy play has made him a very valuable member of this team.
2 shots.
That free throw good from Caldwell-Pope. A new generation of players, Greg, coming into the NBA alongside your son Cole. We've got a lot of players who I think are going to have a long-term impact on this game.
There's no doubt about it. Listen, I hope Cole can have the kind of impact that some of these guys are, but look at the Grizzlies. I think they got two terrific ones. Ja Morant has superstar written all over him. Brandon Clark probably surprised some people with his ability to have an impact. And if you look at this past draft, Obi Toppin is one to watch. This is a guy with great size and length who was a perimeter player until he had a growth spurt. So those are the types of players that I think when you combine athleticism and skill with the way the court is spaced, man, can have a tremendous impact in this game.
Now here's Kuzma to the inside. And there's Morris. That's good on the assist by Kuzma.
And really, it's been a major aspect of their offense in the early stages here. Their success working the ball inside and getting points from close range.
Here's DiVincenzo. He's been quiet so far. Still no points in the game. Here's Ilyasova. No good. Shot missing. Kuzma with the defensive effort. Rondo with a clean look. Buries the long-range jumper.
And you can't help but pick their defense apart. They're completely in disarray.
Guys, they're looking for a way to score here.
Yeah, they've had a tough time taking the lid off.
Lopez kicks to Connaughton. And right away, they match it with a three-pointer of their own.
Both teams running perimeter-oriented plays that are working.
How often do we see this these days? Clubs answering each other from range.
Rondo finds Howard. Back to Rondo. Floats one. Tries again. Howard can't hit.
You want your bigs playing big. Rips it down in traffic.
Just 1 second between the shot clock and game clock. He hangs in there and cashes in on the second chance points.
Oh, and a nice job of turning that miss into 2 points on the tip in.
Hustle points, I believe they call them. Hustle points right there. Rondo with it. Here's Kuzma. And it's good, but hold on. The officials may want to look at that one on the replay monitor. And indeed, they're going to look at it again. They need to be certain he beat the buzzer.